Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's have a little discussion about the Biden disaster in Afghanistan. Okay. Now I'll admit, I did want Biden to fail because I didn't, like him. I didn't like his administration, but I didn't want him to fail this bad, right? I didn't want him to fail to the point where, he is, I just didn't want him to fail this bad, okay? Because this is, it's horrible. This is terrible any way you look at it. Let me share some thoughts with you guys, and that's what this video is about. It's just me sharing a couple of ideas with you guys. If you guys have different ideas, put them in the comment section. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to be insulted if you don't agree with me. But I have, for most of my life, almost all of my life, right, and I'm 49 years old, I have been pretty much what you would call a Warhawk, right? To the extent that my concept has always been that, hey, if you're not kicking ass, you're getting your ass kicked. Okay, so that's kind of how I've seen things for most of my life. I supported World War One, supported World War Two. Obviously, I wasn't alive at that time. I supported the Korean War because, again, it was to stop communism, right? I supported the Vietnam War, okay, again, because it was to stop communism, stop socialism, right? So I supported that war for that reason. I saw it as part of a bigger plan, okay? I supported the first war in Iraq. I did also support the second war in Iraq, okay? I especially supported the second war in Iraq because I was living in New York City at the time, and I saw the attacks on the World Trade Center as a personal attack on me. I lived there. I actually watched the buildings burn with my eyes. My experience was I was actually working in Brooklyn at the time, in Williamsburg, and I was watching the buildings burn, both of them. And then I said, hey, let me go around this building to get a better view. By the time I got around the building to go get the first tower had completely collapsed. It just wasn't there. And I was seeing this live, so I'm like, where'd it go? I was pretty mad about that, and I completely supported the second, the war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan. Yeah, not so much because I was really interested in spreading the ideas of democracy. I wanted to go and kick some ass. Okay, that was my thought at the time. My ideas changed last year after the 2020 election. Okay, what I saw was that this government here was really corrupt. I saw that, looking at the bigger picture, I started seeing that that through war, this government had gained so much power that it was at the point where it was now using that power against its own people. Like, for case in point, the Patriot Act, right? The Patriot Act, or the Unpatriot Act, where they used the excuse of the World Trade Center attacks to unconstitutionally spy on American citizens. Okay, starting last year, I started being pretty anti-war because I saw that these wars, and these wars going all the way back to World War One now, right? Looking all the way back, I have seen that all these wars have been a means, even though they may have been justified, even though fighting Hitler and Japan may have been justified. The problem that I saw is that it gave power to people here in the United States that should not have power. Okay, it made this government too powerful to the point where now it was a threat to its. It was threatening the the freedoms and the liberties of us Americans here. Okay, so I started becoming pretty anti-war because I was seeing that the U.S. government and the people that run it were using that power to try and suppress freedom here in the United States. So I started becoming very anti-war. I think the videos I did last year were kind of leaning in that direction. So even though I had originally, and let's focus on the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, even though originally I was a big supporter of those wars, last year I was starting to second guess myself, like, yeah, I did want some revenge, and I'm one of those people that's honest about it. A lot of people say, yeah, war in Iraq and Afghanistan, war to stop terrorism, war to spread democracy. You know what? I just wanted revenge. Okay, I'll be honest with you. You know, they attacked us. I want to hit them back. You know, they killed whatever 5,000 of us. I want to kill 50 million of them. You know, I mean, I'm very simple like that. Because I'm a believer that, hey, I have that schoolyard mentality in the sense that, you know, if you let somebody, like if somebody bothers you and you let them bother you, they're going to keep bothering you. And then it's not just that one person's going to bother you, but all his buddies are now going to see you as a sucker, and they're going to stop bothering you too. So my thing is that, hey, somebody bothers you, you got to hit back hard and fast to send a message to everybody else. So war in Iraq, yes, Saddam Hussein was not the guy that arranged the attack on the World Trade Center, right? He wasn't the guy responsible for it. He wasn't the guy that planned it, but he was the guy that was laughing the loudest. So because he was laughing the loudest, he's the one that I feel needed to be attacked. And I was in that exact same position back when I was in high school. I was on a bus, and a couple of guys were doing something stupid, like throwing papers at me. But I didn't like, basically I saw, it wasn't, first it was like one guy, then there was a whole bunch of papers coming in at me. And then I saw this, okay, wait a second. Now it's not just one guy or two guys. Now everybody's starting to think that I'm the guy that they're gonna tease and throw papers at. So a whole bunch of guys were laughing. I found the guy that I saw the guy that was laughing the loudest. He's the guy that I called out. Okay, I don't even know if he threw papers. He was the guy that was laughing the loudest. Called him out. We had a fight. I made the point that I needed to make. Okay, and from that point forward, people had the idea that, hey, this is not the guy that you throw papers at. Okay, so that's how I kind of saw the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, specifically the war in Iraq. Saddam Hussein may have not been responsible for the World Trade Center attack, but he was laughing the loudest, and you got to deal with him. That's the person you had to make an example of. So those were my feelings at that time. However, I've also saw that, hey, because through that excuse, they used that as an opportunity to basically start taking away our rights. Okay, so the last year I started turning more anti-war. I wasn't at the point where I was saying like pull everybody out, but I was starting to see that, hey, people in this country were taking advantage of that situation and using it as an excuse to take away our freedoms and our liberties. So where we are now with Biden, and I'm not even sure the detail. I just know that, I don't know what kind of a deal he made, how much of it was his, how much of it was Trump's. I've heard some people say that he just honored Trump's deal. I've heard other people say that, hey, he redid the deal. Regardless, he's in the driver's seat, right? He can change the deal if he wants. So I don't care who made the deal. He's there. Also, even if he did make the deal, he's in a position to say, hey, this is not going the way I wanted it. I'm changing the terms of this deal. Okay, the famous Darth Vader line. I've altered our whatever it was, our agreement. So he can change the deal, right? So I don't like the idea of a strong, overpowerful government, because eventually it does turn against its own citizens. I've seen that. And and I'll be honest with you, I really I didn't want Biden to even succeed. I did want Biden to fail miserably, just because I feel that he did not belong in, I do feel that him and the Democrats, I do feel that they stole the election. So quite honestly, I did want him to have a very bad presidency, but I didn't want him to feel this bad, okay? I didn't want him to come out, to bring the country down to the level that he has brought it down to, where it is right now, okay, where we are like literally being chased out of the country, like you got Taliban at the airport, and I haven't seen the full details, but it looks like they're like literally like throwing them out of throwing Americans out of the country. It's just terrible. I did not want him to fail that bad. I didn't want him to succeed, but I didn't want to see a failure this bad. Because here's the thing, I would, because 6 months from now or a year from now, my feeling is that this, even though in the next couple of months this is going to be all headlines, a year from now, it's, the news is going to kind of forget about this. So a year from now, he's like, okay, well, I'm not in Afghanistan anymore. I'm not in Iraq. what can I do now? Wait, let's go back to trying to restrict the rights of Americans. So, to some extent, I feel that, I kind of, if he stays in Iraq, or if the United States stays in Afghanistan, it kind of keeps them busy, in the sense that because they're busy fighting the Taliban, they're not fighting me. Okay, so that's also part of my mentality, right? Because if they get completely out of Afghanistan, hey, listen, they still got all the soldiers, right? They still got the CIA, they still got the NSA. Who's the NSA going to turn their attention to? Who's the CIA and the FBI going to turn their attention to? They're going to turn it to us, right? You got all these people that they've hired and trained over the last 20 years, to find terrorists. Okay, great. So now we're not chasing after those terrorists in Afghanistan and Iraq. Which terrorists are they now going to go after? They're going to see me and you as the terrorists, so they're going to keep looking for terrorists. It's just that they're not going to be looking for them overseas. So I would, now, like, looking at the big picture, for my benefit and for the benefit of most of you guys following this channel, I think that we would be better off if the government and, the CIA, the military, the FBI, whatever, the NSA, I think that we would kind of be better off if they kind of kept their attention over there rather than on us over here, just, minding our own business, exercising our rights, okay? So I think that in the long term, if we do get kicked out of Afghanistan, it's going to be worse for us, okay? So those are just my thoughts. And I'm not doing this video to give you guys any answers or solutions. I can just tell you that Biden is a complete mess, complete disaster. In fact, the whole Democrat Party is a complete disaster. After about 6 months of kind of burying their head in the sand, right, or in the basement, wherever Biden puts his head, in the toilet, wherever he puts his head, I don't care. After 6 months or a year, he's going to pull it out. And he's going to be like, okay, great, I screwed up in Afghanistan. I need some sort of a victory. What am I going to do now? I can't do anything outside of this country because, I'm just not capable. How about some Americans? Let me see if I can start, attacking some Americans and repressing their rights and maybe, designating them as the terrorists. So that's kind of where I see us right now. So again, I'm just sharing some thoughts with you guys. By all means, post your comments. I'm not even saying I'm right. I'm just saying that these are the thoughts that are kind of passing through my head at the moment. So, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a member of my channel, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.